Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Sigma Show. It is I, Sigma. This is episode 59. And before I let you know who is joining me today, real quick, let's go over what our topics will be. Not too much this week. It's been a bit of a slow one, but it doesn't mean that the news isn't juicy, right? We have Perfect Dark. Its game director has apparently left the studio, The Initiative. I want to talk about kind of what that means and kind of is this sort of a trend we're seeing with kind of these Xbox first-party studios, because I think this, like, we've had news like this very similar across some of their studios lately. So we'll dive into that. And we very recently got a Sony State of Play. They announced a couple of Japanese-centric titles. They showed off some games that are coming soon. And I just want to take the temperature of how Sony's looking at the beginning of this year. And to talk with me about these topics, I have J-Mate.
Yo, what's good? It's me. I never know what to say on these bits, Casey. Every time.
Yeah, just say hi. It's
good?
fine.
It's me.
Rexicon Jesse.
Hi.
There you go.
All
I mean, be a little less creepy than that, but And the Fat Stacks is joining us.
What's good, y'all? What's happening?
Thanks, guys, for being here. I see Nick the OG in the chat. Lampy's in the chat. What's up, guys? Appreciate you guys being here bright and early. Let's jump into things. Well, not our topics, but let's jump into what we've been playing to kind of warm things up here a bit. Anyone dying to tell me about a game or a TV show that they've been playing? Or, I mean, I can go first. It's fine.
Go for it.
All right.
Okay.
So, the game I've been putting in the most time, it is still embargoed, so you won't hear about that until probably next week, I think. But I have been playing more Elden Ring. Surprise, surprise.
Oh my gosh.
And I was mentioning to these guys beforehand. I finally found the second Uchi katana, because I start with one as a samurai class, and I've been wanting to dual wield katanas since the start of the game. Once I figured out that you could power stance in that game, I wanted two katanas, and so now that I have one, it's become now a roundabout mission to get that katana at least somewhere close in power to my first one. 'Cause my first one right now is at plus 13, plus 14, something like that, and it's okay, so all these first level smithing stones that I had early in the game are now missing from my inventory. I need to find out how to get more.
Yeah.
So I looked up a guide how do you get more smithing stones? So you go down this big cave, you fight a boss, you get an item. It turns into a whole roundabout quest where you have to do several other things to do the one thing you want to do. And it immediately reminded me of Monster Hunter World, which is one of my favorite games ever, of course. But it turned into I don't remember that really being a thing in Dark Souls before, where you set maybe mini objectives that then take you on kind of a personal quest outside of what it is you're actually trying to do.
Yeah, with the stones, it kind of just in the Soul series, they're kind of just once you get to a certain point in the game, arbitrarily those stones are unlocked in a vendor's inventory, and you can just buy them. Which is your quest to buy them in Elden Ring. You have to go and acquire the bells to sell to the woman. But I think it's much more engaging because, like you said, it takes you down this rabbit hole and personal quest of what you want to do, and engaging with more of the content, going into these mines that you wouldn't have otherwise, maybe.
Right, and when you're running around looking for this stuff, all of a sudden you're seeing other things in the world. I came across, and this was something I was looking for because I knew about it, but in the midst of this, I came across a convoy, which they showed off early on and other stuff, but I hadn't really engaged with them until I came across them and realized, in a video, I saw that this has a particular weapon that I also needed. I had no weapons that did strike damage. All my stuff was bleed and pierce, because I'm trying to be a blood boy, where I'm just making everything bleed. But I came across it just kind of organically in the middle of this quest, so I took the time out to take on that convoy, and it was a really fun fight, dissecting all those enemies as they were going down the road, and I got that big ass mace. So now that is being added to the things I want to upgrade on the road to getting all these smithing stones. So I don't know, I've been enjoying Elden Ring. I burnt out on it a little bit, and then all of us I'm way back into it now. All I needed was to take a break from the thing I was doing, and I have to keep reminding myself that that's how this game's loop works. Because other Souls games are a lot more direct, but because of the big open world in this, they do force you to engage with it by making enemies very frustrating.
I like that aspect for sure. Instead of beating your head against the wall, which Fast Axe, you were saying that like you might throw your Xbox out the window if you play these games.
Yeah.
That kind of beating your head against the wall stuff is a huge part of Dark Souls and Bloodborne and stuff like that. But in Elden Ring, when you find a challenge that is too difficult for you, you can and you are encouraged to just go engage with the rest of the content and play more of the game, and then you eventually gain more power, and then you can come back to it bolstered. And I think that's one of its greatest strengths and why it works so well in the open world, and why this game might be better for people who have never played a FromSoft title before. I think this might be the best one to start with, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, there's been some debate around that, particularly, especially as you get deeper into the game. But honestly, I feel like by that point, like if you get to the point where you do get that deep, like you're probably sold on it, right?
You're sold
in
on
which
it,
case,
yeah.
In which case you would spend the extra time doing more exploration in the world to like meet those challenges if you're having fun.
Yeah,
but that's pretty much all I've been playing. In terms of watching, I just finished season 2 of The Righteous Gemstones on HBO. Does anyone follow this show at all?
My partner watches that.
It is fantastic. If you don't know, it's a show about it's from Danny McBride. It's a show about like a religious family, like they run a church, and it's one of those Joel Osteen style mega churches. Like they make millions and millions and millions of dollars a year, kind of peddling faith. So like they all, like on the surface they all seem like con men type people, and in a lot of aspects they kind of are. But since you're kind of following the family, they are actually somewhat earnest about their belief and like their ideals and stuff. Like they believe in what they're doing, even though they're very ridiculous about it. Like they curse up a storm. Like they don't do things that that people who you think as religious would do. Like they live very kind of like carefree. Like I don't want to say satanic lives, but like they're full of debauchery is what this family is, right? But at the same time, they're all hilarious to watch because all of John Goodman is the father figure. He's the pastor, Eli Gemstone. all three of his kids are giant babies. Like they're grown adults, but they are so immature. Like they fight with each other. Like if you've ever seen Bob's Burgers, it's that kind of energy where the kids will not shut up. They will not let Eli get like any time to like think or process anything. But everything that comes out of their mouths is like straight up hilarious. But then they get into these dumb situations where like, okay, the church is at stake because people want to blackmail them because of all the money. It's just like mafia that tries to like deal with them, and other organizations like rival pastor groups and whatnot who want to like link up with them, and like because it's all about money. Like they get collections from their patrons. They don't pay taxes, and like they use the money to praise God in the biggest, most ostentatious way possible, and they believe in that. They think that is the best way to do it. So like in a sense, you kind of earnestly get on their side when they crusade against the people who are trying to stop them from doing what they want to do. So I find them to be somewhat likable, even though they're all despicable. But it's super funny. I definitely suggest watching it if you haven't. Walton Goggins is also in it. He plays an uncle, and he's absolutely fantastic to watch. Like his character is also like just really shitty, but he is so funny to watch. Like I love that show so much. I feel like it's flying under the radar for a lot of people.
Is that the uncle, that character?
Yes, Uncle Baby Billy.
Oh my gosh.
I love shows like that. Like I get a lot of that. Always Sunny is that kind of show for me. Like everyone in Always Sunny is an absolute swat and hateable, like horrible person, but you can't stop watching them because they're so terrible, and they get in these horrible situations because of their stupidity, and their ego, and I absolutely love that. So that sounds like my thing. I think I might check that out.
Yeah, it's fun. Jesse, you said you've been getting pieces of it, but like you're not into it.
I think, first of all, John Goodman is outstanding in that. Like,
I feel like all the performances are great in that show.
Yeah, John Goodman is a goat in certain areas, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I agree.
I feel like the other people are doing exactly what they're supposed to do, and sometimes that hits for me, sometimes it doesn't. But like, I don't think any of them are bad for sure. But John Goodman, it does not matter. He is just outstanding. Like I The rest of them feel kind of caricaturic to me, and like my partner and I've talked about that when she was watching it. But like John Goodman feels like a great actor in this scenario and a real character in this scenario, where the show kind of bothers me because like I'm gonna go one place with this, and then we're gonna turn around and go somewhere else. Because like that culture is like I was steeped in that. I went to a huge church. Like I am very familiar with those kinds of people. And it's not like I don't like it because I'm offended by it. They're probably very right about most things they're saying, especially the hypocrisy. What gets me is that that's not how these people talk. I know these people. I know how they talk. They are much more coded, much more guarded. They'll say the meaning of everything they're saying, but they're not going to say it with those words. And that kind of bothers me, that it's like, I know this is wrong. Like you're not doing it right. You wouldn't drop this many F-bombs in front of reporters.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, their mannerism and the way they speak is a very Danny McBride thing. Like that's kind of just how he writes characters, where like they're just cursing up a storm and whatnot. And yeah, it's jarring because of how religious or how tied to religion like the family is supposed to be. So like I get that juxtaposition, but I still find it hilarious because the stuff he puts in their mouths in terms of the writing is just mad silly.
It is.
Like no one talks like the way these characters talk, but like it is very entertaining to me. Yeah, Nick the OG in chat says they aren't as forward with it. They got to be sneaky.
Yeah, it's very it's very stealthy, very coded.
Yeah. That whole
that's fair criticism.
But like, yeah, it is ridiculous, and the most ridiculous moments are quite delightful.
But yeah, I've been enjoying that. But that's pretty much it for me. I think I also caught up in One Piece up to like where the episodes are airing. So I'm cutting it off. It'll probably be several months, if not a full year, before I go back to it.
Oh wow! you say catch up, and I assume
that's a binge.
You've been caught up for a long time. You didn't just start yesterday. I was like, yeah.
Well, no, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't start from scratch. Like I've been, like I started One Piece several years ago. I would watch until there were no episodes, and then I would wait another long stretch of time so that episodes could build up. Because I'm not watching that show week to week. Like it is far too nonsensical. I need to get big chunks of it at a time. But that's pretty much it for me.
I don't think I have a lot to say, so I'll go next, because why not? We started watching Warrior on HBO. It's the show that is like, hey, Bruce Lee wanted to make a show, and it was this, and it never got made, and now we made it.
Oh, okay. I was thinking of like, it was like a Charlie Hunnam or Channing Tatum movie called Warrior.
The boxing one.
Okay, yeah, that's probably what I was thinking of.
It's boxing.
But I've heard of
MMA,
this thing. Sure.
Yeah, so it's
probably MMA. But I've heard of this Bruce Lee thing.
Yeah, it's a show. I think it got renewed for a second season. That's not out yet. Did not know what to expect when we started it, and am very impressed and very interested in what they're throwing at me. Like, okay, expected good fight scenes. Got those, sure. Nice. The acting is really good. It's incredibly interlaced drama where you have main character who just came to America. There's all the like racism towards Chinese people. There's this group of like Irish workers who especially hate the Chinese because they're taking their jobs, but they're being, so there's like a person who's organizing against the Chinese there on that level. But that's only happening because all the businessmen and politicians are paying less to get Chinese men working in there, like building stuff, and construction, I think, is the main thing I'm talking about. And so there's characters at the gang level, the trying to, like, the police, the politicians, like the mayor's wife is one of the main characters. So it's this huge, like, decently sized pool of interconnected characters who don't often interact with many other characters directly, but you see their influence on each other. And it is way more in depth than I was expecting in that regard. And I am terribly fascinated by it. And I'm very interested in seeing where it's going. Yeah. It's
that
also
me
great
of The Wire. Did you spend time watching that show?
I've seen like a few episodes. That's a show I actually have to watch. But yeah, that sort of feeling is
Yeah, because it's the same. It's the way you describe. Like they'll have like characters who are part of one system in the city, like the school, for example. Characters who are in the mayor's office, characters who are in the press, and like the things that are happening in one place are basically being commented or reacted to in another place, and it's because it's an event that's known and not the characters know each other.
Mm-hmm.
So like yeah, it's like a whole interlocking world. Like it makes the city of Baltimore in that show feel real. I mean, it is a real place, but that's why
it's real.
Mythical Baltimore is actually real.
It's not like Lordran, like it's an actual place.
Yeah, so yeah, that's cool. I want to check that out. Yeah, where's that at?
It's on HBO. So we watch it on HBO Max because we have that.
Cool.
Yeah. And I've been playing Elden Ring. Surprise. Also, Observation Duty. I'm on Observation Duty. What a fun little game.
What is that? I've not heard of Observation Duty.
It's okay. It's like a spot the difference game. If you you have like 5 cameras in a house, and you're trying to figure out what's changing because there's some like ghost or anomaly happening. And you have to change cameras and like spot differences. Sometimes things will move, sometimes something will appear, and you have to like log what it is so it can be fixed.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yeah, it's like a spooky little find the difference game.
Cool.
It's cool.
Yeah, it sounds like a nice little thing. Like that's on like Steam or
Yeah, it's on Steam and it's like $2.
Oh dang. Okay, cool.
Whereas Waldo meets Paranormal Activity.
Yeah, that's not bad.
That should be the tag. That would be great.
Sweet. Does that do it for you, Jesse?
Yeah.
All right, J-Mate.
Me. I've been playing what most people have been playing, which is Elden Ring. Not just for work, but also for fun. I've put way too many hours into that game. Like in combination. Right now? Yeah, well, in combination with my time on the Escapist account when we had it early, I think I'm at 130 hours.
Damn. That's a lot.
Wow.
Okay. I see you.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, chat, before you start throwing Jay, you sad fucker. I have been working full time on episodes for the Escapist on the game, so I've been filming, I've been doing lots of things in it, and we got it early. So, but other than that, yeah, I've been doing that. I've been wanting to spend more time in the new Risk of Rain DLC, which I spoke about last time, which is going to be fun. And I've been watching. I think you should leave.
Oh, I want to start that show. I keep hearing such good things about that.
It's probably one of the funniest shows I've watched in the last 5 years. A lot of shows, like, I can tell they're doing jokes and I'm like, that was funny. But I very rarely like laugh out loud. I was bawling at this show. It is fucking hilarious. And it does this thing of it's like a sketch comedy, but the sketches always take this really dark turn. And it's really, really odd that it does that, but it somehow makes the jokes funnier. Not as in like pain or like murder or anything like that. It's not like a dark comedy, but the characters always like talk about really, really dark things at the end of their jokes, and it hits different. And I think that might be why it's so funny. But I'd highly recommend it if anyone hasn't watched it yet. They're really short episodes, are like 15 minutes long each. I watched all of season 1 and 2 in like an evening because they're really, really short. Dang. So I'd highly recommend it. Really, really funny. But that's about me. Yeah,
I think I'm gonna start that myself, like by myself, because like I was teasing it as like the next thing me and my fiance were gonna start up, but like she just saw the dude's face. Is like, what is this? I don't want to watch this.
Yeah, fair. I highly recommend that. And then that's about me. I've enjoyed Elden Ring, but I'm also kind of ready to start playing other games because I've put so much time into it.
Luckily, I've been splitting the time. Like I can go back to it after I get like worked on another game. But how about you, Fast Act? What you been up to in terms of gaming and watching?
Unfortunately, looks like I'm the black sheep of the bunch because I have not touched Elden Ring. I've just watched it for the same purpose of what Jay just said earlier. I mean, I like games like that. Don't get me wrong, but man, look, it costs too much money for my system already. So I will save myself that issue. But
Fair enough.
But for me, I've been playing a lot of Bless Unleashed for me, and a lot of the things that you guys are saying about Elden Ring, when it came to the whole intertwine mechanics, you go do something else in order to, to take a breather sometimes. Like Bless has like a lot of side quests. Obviously, the games are two totally different things, but there's certain small similarities in between the two. In my opinion, from what I've seen, a lot of the gameplay and me playing Bless. I've played a lot of MMOs in my time, so I get
Bless is an MMO, right?
Yeah,
because I saw you playing a little bit. Like it looked really action heavy, but like there were like a ton of other characters running around. So it's like a MMO RPG.
Yes, it's a whole open world map. Obviously, dungeons, raids, open world bosses, different classes. I believe and it's free to play. I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So, but it does have its bugs. It does have its this and its that, like every other free MMO that. So, and they've changed, and it's changed a lot from when it first released up until now. And where I'm at now, it is grindy as what?
Yeah, that's
In what kind of way?
especially for a free thing.
It is because they've changed it so much where now you have to play the game a lot in order to get to where you want to be. Meaning, you used to be able to just put points, and okay, you're just gonna put points. Nah, they don't want to do that. So now you have to go get items. These items are random. So yeah, it's
Nope.
They're tying your progression to a random item drop.
It's random. Well, this is because you want to these random items that you get is tied to your skills that you need to upgrade. So they can drop, these items will drop from anywhere and anything. There is no specific place to get them. They just
okay, so they're telling you just keep playing.
Pretty much. Yeah, right, you have to keep playing in order to level up. And I'm at the point now where it's like, yeah, I've been here before. So it is what it is. Because
that's a shame.
Because after this, of course, I'm playing a Phantasy Star after this. So every MMO, I always have a goal to reach. Like I want to get to a certain point before I switch over. And this is why I didn't play Elden Ring, because I know that's like, no, my time could only be sucked into one vacuum during one game.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but more than likely, I will get it, but it'd probably be about a year down the line or something like that, which doesn't bother me any, because Elden Ring's more like an end game. There is no MMO to it. It's just like you play it until you just get tired.
Yeah, play it at your own pace.
Yeah, you just play it at your own pace. So, but yeah, other than that, yeah, that's it. Next week, Mario Kart comes out with the DLC courses. Yes. Yeah. I cannot wait. About that?
Yes. I know Casey's mad hype for that, right, Casey?
Yeah, tell us about it.
I haven't played Mario Kart in a while. And yes, I am finally glad. Finally, I think a lot of people has been asking for this for golly.
Yes.
Like,
I think they wanted a new game. Some people were like, they're just ready for the sequel. Yeah. And Nintendo was like, nope, just.
But in my opinion,
on this one.
I don't see Nintendo. Why would you want to come out with another Mario Kart for the Switch? You might as well just wait until the next complete system comes out. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So everybody's been waiting on like the course, or do what they did with Mario Maker. You can create your own race course, your race circuit track. That would have been something interesting.
Cool. Yeah, would have been sweet.
I'm trying to because the only instance of that in like a first party Nintendo racing game was F-Zero X on the N64.
Yes.
But you needed the disc drive, which was not a thing that ever sold in America. But like it had like really cool functionality to like make your own tracks or whatever, and that would have made that game infinitely replayable. And the fact that game is actually coming to the Switch Online N64 thing soon, if not already.
Yes.
And I doubt that functionality will be in it. Like that would have been a really cool selling point. Like I would have heavily considered buying into that if they added those features in there, but I doubt it. They probably it's just be a straight up port of like the N64 cartridge, and just leave it at that.
My opinion, I like the fact that they're bringing back the retro games on the Switch. I mean, why not? You know,
they should have. Like, they're late to that party.
Yeah, they should have done that a long time ago. But you know, when it comes to, like I said, to that the courses that are coming out, which is March 18th, which is next week. So yeah, I'll be mixing in a little Mario Kart here with the new tracks. I think they're only releasing, I don't know how much they're releasing at a time, but the total is 48. 48.
Yeah, over the course of the year, it'll be 48.
48.
So I don't know the cadence of how many with each pack, or how many how frequent the releases will be either.
Probably a track every week or so, or maybe 3 or 4 tracks every month.
Yeah, I think they said it was going to be a set amount of tracks every release, but they didn't officially say when each release was going to be. If I remember correctly, I might be wrong.
Yeah,
because it all comes like if you sign up for like their I can't remember what they call it, but like it's like the pro version of their Nintendo Online service, like
pass.
The expansion pass. Yeah, if you sign up for that, all that is included, which does add value to that expansion pass because you're not paying extra if you were already using it. But like it wasn't worth the money in my opinion.
I'd rather just buy the
launch.
Yeah, just buy the battle pass for all the courses and be done.
Yeah, like if you're playing just Mario Kart, just buy those tracks.
But it's still
forget the expansion pass.
I still don't think it's worth it because not all the tracks are out. Like if you buy expansion pass for a year, all the tracks won't be out by the time your thing expires. You have to refresh it again.
Well, by the time your thing expires, you'd have all the tracks.
Not necessarily.
But does that mean
because they're gonna come out up into 2023?
Yeah, I guess they will.
Yeah, so you'd have to renew your deal, depending on how they do it. Anyway, depending on their release. But yeah, I mean, it's just like the Smash Pass. It's just better just to buy the pass and get all the fighters. But the interesting about this is what I do like what they're doing with these courses. You only need one person to have the course, and everybody else can play on the same course. So it's not like people are getting locked out.
That's good.
So from what I've read so far, as long as somebody else has, the pass and the courses, you can. And so if you're looking to do just a private match or something like that, as long as one person has it, everybody can play it. So
that's great.
From what I've seen, so that's pretty cool. And I was really hoping on characters too. That's the next thing I wanted. I would love to see Kirby in a Mario Kart. I'm a big Kirby fan. I would love to.
Marty over at The Escape is with us. He did a whole the takeaway video, like his video essay series, where he basically was predicting that that's what the next Mario Kart would be, and was hoping that the thing that they announced next would be Mario Kart 9, where it wasn't really Mario Kart, it was like Nintendo Kart, and it was just essentially Smash but as a kart racer.
Yeah. Which they've been leaning into that anyway, because like Link is
like the Squid Kids are in that from Inkling.
Villagers
are in there. Link is in there.
Link is in there. Yeah. So, what are you waiting on, Nintendo? I've been saying that for years. I'm like, or at least put them in a DLC pack or something. People will buy that when it comes to Nintendo and Mario Kart.
I'm down for Kirby to be in Mario Kart as long as he doesn't like animorph into a car like he did in the last trailer.
Like he eats the car and he just drives around the track.
He's terrifying. He's driving on his wheel hands. It's gross.
He actually full mouth modes Bowser, and so it's just like this outline of Bowser of Kirby.
I'm like that.
Yeah, that new Kirby game is looking real weird.
I'm so excited for it.
But so strange enough that I want it. Like,
right.
I want this.
Well, okay. Does that do it for you, Fast X?
Yeah, and when it comes to watching stuff, I just watch anime. So I'm excited about all the season 2 stuff coming out, from Overlord to Classroom with the Elite has a season 2. what else? There's another one that I've been specifically watching. And I get this name. Was it Mushoku Tensei? That season 2 I'm waiting on too.
I don't think I've heard about that. Does that have like an English name?
No, it's Jobless Reincarnation. Is
That's the English name?
Yeah, I have a bad name. I have a bad way of pronouncing some of these shows, but it's Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation. It's actually a very good one. It was on.
I've heard people talking about Jobless Reincarnation.
It's actually now on. Obviously, Crunchyroll now has the corner of the market. They will have everything.
The fusion with Funimation
so
taking place. So like all that stuff is on Crunchyroll now.
Yeah, so slowly but the majority of the stuff is starting to. I guess they're doing stuff little by little because not all of it's transferred yet, from what I've seen. But
is Funimation still like running? Like people who pay and use that.
I use Funimation.
It's still working.
It's still going.
It's still going. I'm just waiting to see whenever they change the pay system because it's gonna be one pay system. Thank God. So I'm just waiting on them to finally see, and I'm gonna assume the price is gonna increase too. There is no reason.
Everything else has.
So, but yeah. Other than that, that is it for me.
Cool.
I live in the anime world.
Thank you guys for sharing. Appreciate that. We'll jump right into our first topic for the day. The Initiative, Microsoft's quote quadruple A studio. It was like kind of a super team they put together of like lots of like high profile industry vets, and they set them on the task of creating a quadruple A first party game, and they chose the long dead rare IP, The Perfect Dark. Not The Perfect Dark, but Perfect Dark. I for one was very excited about this news. But it seems after 4 years since they've announced it, they're losing their game director. And we've not seen a single screenshot or gameplay video of anything that they've actually been working on. So honestly, this news hits me as like a Perfect Dark super fan as very troubling. And like I should have seen the writing on the wall a little while ago when they announced that Crystal Dynamics was actually brought in to help them with the development. Because I just thought that was odd. Like Crystal Dynamics, for one, like no shade to them, but like what in their repertoire, like they did like the Tomb Raider games. Square Enix did Guardians of the Galaxy, right? That was Crystal Dynamics. So like Tomb Raider, right? Is that it?
That they've been working on. From what I've read, is got Tomb Raider. It after Core.
Okay. So yeah, so that's kind of their claim to fame. And personally, I feel like the Tomb Raider games are okay. Like they're all 7s.
They are indeed games.
That's a high score.
Like they're just fine. So I'm wondering like this super team that Microsoft paid millions and millions of dollars to form, this big, like, why did you need help from Crystal Dynamics, who makes kind of average games? Like it just seemed like something was going on there, and now their game director's leaving. Like that kind of confirms it for me that things aren't going well in this pipeline. But like this isn't exclusive to just this project. Like Microsoft has had issues getting Crackdown out of the door, right? Another first party game that they had like a lot riding on. Same thing with Halo, their biggest franchise. Yeah. And tons of people have been leaving that studio. As of late, their multiplayer lead left. So like what's going on with Microsoft's first party studios? Is this indicative of maybe like a larger managerial problem? Because as good as they're doing across, all the media, like this is a constant in their news cycle.
It is definitely the problem. I have close friends who work at Rare and worked on Sea of Thieves and their new projects they're working on. And not to name any names or throw anyone under the bus, but it is a lot of the Microsoft's issue of coming in and making sweeping changes to games. It's kind of the issue of, in film where the producer will come in and completely change the direction of a movie and undercut the director to make changes that have nothing to do with the plot or anything, but they think it is what the audience will want, even though they're completely
like
Justice
like
League.
focus groups.
Justice
League. Yeah.
And this happens in the game industry a lot. Publishers can come in and just stamp their foot and completely change the direction of games, even though the games have been in development for 3 years. Publishers can come in and just completely wipe the floor. This happened with God of War. The God of War developers were making a completely different game, and then the publishers came in and went, "No, do it again." And
Like
I think
the original trilogy.
no,
or
the new one.
the new one. Oh,
yeah. I don't know the exact dates, but the God of War that we played and we got was made in a couple years from the ground up, and it won Game of the Year. And
so that's
did
going to
amazingly.
reinforce.
So
yeah, that's going to
big up to
reinforce
those
all of
developers.
that behavior, isn't it?
And now Sony are probably like, yeah, just do what you want, mate, because clearly you know what you're doing. But apparently Microsoft are especially egregious for this, coming in and going, no, change it, and then just leaving. And this is probably why Crystal Dynamics got pulled in. They probably made a prototype for Perfect Dark and weren't happy with it, and thought, these guys make games that have sold many copies. Let's just bring them in. And they're not actually thinking, like you said, they made Tomb Raider. How is that gonna correlate?
Like Tomb Raider sold well because it's a household name, right? Like when people heard it was rebooted,
and like you said, those games are all right. They're
fine.
Yeah.
Like they're
They are
fine.
games.
But I'm
I
sure
can't
fully
no
functional.
major criticisms on them, apart from a bit slow and stuff like that. Like I enjoyed my time with it, but I don't understand why they're coming in to help with Perfect Dark. But yeah, it's all gonna not all. Probably a lot of it is Microsoft, and also if it's this elite, like quadruple A team, there's probably a lot of ego in that team.
Yeah, someone in chat
Yep.
was making that same point.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
people
Lampy
butting
actually was
heads.
making that point.
Because it's something we spoke about in Design Delve with some of the developers about like having an idea for a game and then somebody coming in and being like, actually that doesn't work. You get this weird like pride on like it was my idea and it's the best. And I think if you've had successful games, you might think that your ideas are the best. And I think there are probably quite a few people in that team who think their ideas are the best. And they're
Yeah, I could see that for
constantly
sure.
butting heads
Yep.
and development hell, probably.
Too many hands in the cookie jar.
Yeah, bud. So, but that's just my. I don't know anything about the. I don't know any of the developers on Perfect Dark, but from my experience, that's probably what's happening.
Makes sense.
And
Your take? Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that I believe Perfect Dark came after the success of GoldenEye. So Perfect
Yeah.
Dark was
Spiritual successor, essentially.
so I didn't play much of it, but one thing I couldn't stand about Perfect Dark is being able to see through walls. Being able to
It was like, that's the Far Sight gun. Like, that gun is amazing. It's very cheap, but the gun itself is amazing.
But to the topic, yes, whenever you have too many big heads, it's a problem, but that's what you get when you have Microsoft, when they say you get it the way you want, when you just bringing in a whole bunch of people from all over the place. So I mean, my opinion, the best way so why don't you just let people do what they do first, at least, and see how things go. There's too many perfectionists per se, about just like what Jay said. You ain't gonna have it your way all the time. And, once you start messing around too much, then the project itself is gonna fail. Because then there is no direction when it had an initial direction.
Yeah,
So
the direction left.
Yeah.
Director.
Yeah.
Peaced out.
It's like I don't. That was an interesting game to see how they would reboot it, because
Yeah, I wanted to
I
see
want to
something.
see it.
yeah, it's one of those classics that one of the very few that you would like to see with today's technology. How would it develop? Because obviously you see a lot of first person shooters being developed. So how would you bring that back about? So it would have been nice, like you said, to see some type of stills, some type of picture, something. How would you bring that back from the dead, pretty much? So
Yeah, like, I personally feel like Perfect Dark was cheated out of its franchise, because that first game got like tens and nines almost everywhere. Like it was very, very highly rated, but because it required an expansion pack, like the literal expansion pack, not Nintendo's online service, it required you to buy an extra piece of hardware for your N64 for it to run properly.
Right in the run. Yep.
Yeah, it would go right in the front.
Yep.
A lot of people never touched it because like that's extra hardware. So like I get that why it became a kind of a niche thing, but following that, like Microsoft bought Rare, and then the sequel that came out clearly was influenced by that purchase because that second game, which was a prequel, was completely different. Like it was terrible. Like they Americanized the hell out of that franchise. It was awful. So like after that, it was dead for years and years and years. So like it was unfairly treated. I feel like this was the chance for it to get, I think, the attention it deserved because it was an amazing like world. It had really cool mechanics. Like it was the first game I ever played that made me feel like a spy. Like there were Bond games, yes, and some of them were good, but Perfect Dark was the first and probably the most well done kind of instance of being like a espionage shooter person in a video game. So like it really does disappoint me that once again it's sort of being tripped up, and it's weird because this runs counter to a lot of what we've been hearing and seeing in regards to other purchases from Microsoft. Like Microsoft will buy studios wholesale. Like they've been doing it for like 2 years now. And like those devs will get out and say like, oh, Microsoft just helps us with money, but we do what we want. And then we get stuff like Double Fine's Psychonauts 2, right? Which didn't they did start that before Microsoft got involved, so maybe that's part of it. Like these games that are coming out and doing very well just after Microsoft buys them. And it's true that we haven't actually seen any of the titles under Microsoft's leadership yet. Like all the stuff that they've announced, like who has released anything? Like Ninja Theory's Bleeding Edge might be the first example, and that kind of died on the vine as well. Not for lack of quality. I personally think that game was okay. It's just multiplayer stuff wasn't doing too hot. But like I don't think there are any other examples. Or I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
Can't think of any.
Yeah, because game development takes so long that if they bought stuff 2 years ago, we probably have not seen any
and we probably won't for another couple years because of COVID.
Yeah, usually isn't it like
Yep.
Isn't it like 3 to 5 years usually the development of a game?
3 to 5,
yeah.
3 to 5. So then if you come in there and you scrap something after 3 years of hard work, that's rough.
5.
Yeah, that is extremely rough.
It happens more than people think. It's prototypes get just killed by just the decision of one executive. They're just like, no, I don't like it.
Yeah,
then years of
crazy.
work is killed. People lose their jobs. It's fucked. And even it's not even we've done extensive research and this isn't going to work in marketing. There isn't a market for this. We can't make money. We're going to axe it. It's just the decision of one dude or gal who's got too much power, and they don't personally like it, so they decide to can it. And it's the problem with publishers and like we were talking about movie producers and stuff like that, because they hold all the money, they hold all the power, and they do fund these games, and it's great that these developers are able to be published through Microsoft and have a chance to actually make these things. But sometimes, not all the time, they just do get stamped out, and it sucks. And I hope that isn't happening with Perfect Dark. Hopefully, it's something else. But
I'm worried.
It's interesting when Casey was saying about that expansion pack, because after that expansion pack, a lot of games needed that expansion pack after a while. So regardless, you still had to buy the expansion pack anyway from back then.
Donkey Kong 64.
So,
and that's the only other game I can think of that needed it, honestly.
they were cool. Yeah, none right off the top of my. But I know that when that came out, they were starting to make games tiered towards being able to use that expansion pack.
Yeah, it was like near the end of
the life cycle.
Yeah.
But yeah, another one that was like, when you're talking about spy games, not to be off topic, was a Siphon filter that I personally liked years ago when it came out.
Was fun.
Siphon, and
I played that at a friend's house.
And Siphon filter, it's funny because if you look at Metal Gear, the two look very similar.
I want to say Siphon Filter
was the
probably
first.
a direct.
Was a direct
that
influence
came out
on.
first?
Siphon Filter came out first before Metal Gear, I believe.
Is that true?
I'll look it up.
Well, it depends.
I'll
The
look it up.
series of Metal Gear started on the NES.
Well, right, yeah.
It was
Well-
or the SNES. It was really old. But the new modern Metal Gear
But the-
Solid, I think Siphon Filter came first. I think somebody in chat's going to correct us if we're wrong.
Yeah, we can.
I'm looking it
double
up
check
right
that just to
now.
make sure.
Yeah.
But that's interesting because I would have, because I remember thinking that as well back then. Cause I played both. Well, I would see my friend play Metal Gear Solid, and then my friend also had Siphon Filter. And I was like, yo, like these seem very close to one another.
Metal Gear was first. Metal Gear Solid, I should say.
Metal Gear Solid was okay.
It was 98. Siphon Filter was 99. So they're really close.
Yeah,
Oh,
they're actually really close together.
And both games are pretty good. Like, it kept you engaged very well for what it was back then. So.
That's another thing with release dates. You know, a lot of people say that this game copied this game copied this to be popular because it was popular. We were talking about development cycles, anywhere from 3 to 5 years of development cycle. If a game comes out a year later from another title, that game's been in development for years.
Yeah.
Yes.
And people are like, oh, it copied this game. And it's like, no, it didn't. Like,
Yeah.
they just had similar ideas.
It is funny that happens often. Like,
Yeah, it happens a lot.
within the
Yeah.
same year, you'll get a lot of the same kind of game that have similar aspects and whatnot. So I do wonder if there's some kind of root cause that inspires like a large group of the dev community to go, oh, I want to make something like that. And we probably don't ever find out what it is, but I'm sure there's something. Like some other inspiration is the cause, and then they all decide that I want to make a game about this thing. Yeah.
I mean, well, GoldenEye
That's
set the precedence for multiplayer before there was online.
Back then, yeah.
So you look at almost everything now, like Perfect Dark was similar to it was a predecessor to GoldenEye. And then if you look at multiplayers after that, shooters, as in, it's like everybody tried to copy that somewhat golden, that golden goose when it came to multiplayer anyway, before there was a lot of online stuff. So.
Yeah. On top of all that with the conflicting devs and stuff, I feel like that team must be under just massive pressure from Microsoft to make a game, because they're touted as a quadruple A studio, which is a dumb term.
Right. It is,
but
I love saying it.
But like that in and of itself is probably that shows how much they're trying to, whether they're giving them the money, resources, and whatever, the spotlight is on them, that they are going to produce something that is going to outclass everything else. And that's probably what they're expecting, whether it's realistic or not. It's also Rare, and they're probably wanting a big hit from Rare, because like they've owned Rare for a while. I'm trying to think of any Rare games. I guess Sea of Thieves is
Sea of Thieves
making
is the
money.
first big hit they've done since the acquisition. Like everything Rare has been tasked with has either floundered, or for a while they had Rare just working on like the avatars, like the Xbox avatars, which is like, that is sad, like from what they were to like that. But like Sea of Thieves was I guess them clawing they were back into actual development, which is great because people love that game. I don't care about Sea of Thieves.
I don't know why people love that game. I'm glad people do, but
yeah, like it's fine. But like, yeah, that's not what I want from a Rare dev. But Rare today is definitely just not the Rare from back then. So like I've come to terms with that. But this I've not come to terms with yet. Bring back Perfect Dark, make it fantastic. Stop fucking about.
See, there's that pressure though. You're causing the pressure, Casey.
That's a heck of a
I don't
heat
care.
lamp.
They give them more pressure. Make that damn thing. No, yeah, it sucks. It's upsetting that this seems to be the trend, because like I for one was very excited at Microsoft not consolidating, but like buying up all these studios and giving them resources to make stuff. But if they are getting handsy with them and messing with their ability to create, that's exactly the opposite of what I was hoping for. Because like the narrative was different, but like as time is going on and we're seeing like, okay, these studios are now completely under Microsoft's control, their games just kind of stop coming out.
So that thing that always happens when, big money buys up lots of things happened, and you surprised?
Personally, I am
Yes.
shocked. I am shook to the core.
To the core.
I am actually surprised because I'm upset. What I'm saying is like there's like this illusionary period, right? Because Microsoft does the big announcement to say, hey, we're buying these guys. Those guys come out on stage and say like, oh, we're so excited Microsoft just bought us, and look at the game that we're releasing. It's our game. It's our baby. But when you really think about it, they had started that before Microsoft bought them, and Microsoft agrees to be hands off for that. It seems like, and then like afterwards they start to chime in, and that's when you seem to get these hiccups.
I'm interested to see their influence on Bethesda in the long run.
Yeah, exactly, right. Because all the stuff Bethesda has coming out right now, they already were talking about.
Yeah.
But like, it's after Starfield, right? It's after, well, Elder Scrolls is still like vaporware right now. So by the time that actually starts being developed,
Yeah.
Who knows? Like that might run into some of the same issues.
Yeah.
If Microsoft is actually being as hands-on as we suspect.
And if they paying that big money, they gonna get their hands in that cookie jar one way or the next, unless they prove otherwise, I guess.
And that's the thing. Like there was like pseudo proof of otherwise until kind of later into these acquisitions. So it is upsetting because say again.
Pseudo proof.
Because like because they would buy these devs and the devs would say this game we're making Microsoft isn't touching. But but like I'm thinking about it now. It's like, yeah, that was before Microsoft actually had control.
Right. A dev who is happy about their check they're getting and didn't leave after the acquisition, of course is going to come out and go, this is great. Because the people who don't want that to happen either aren't going to have the permission to go out on stage and be like, oh gosh, guys, we're worried about Microsoft here. Or they left because they knew that they were going to get squashed.
I love my Overlord. They're the best.
That's why it's gonna be interesting when if the federal regulators let this slide with Activision, because if Microsoft gets their hands in the Activision, that's
gonna just like not have any games then, because there's all those studios and just they can't release anything. Then
they keep spending 5 years on a game and then canceling it perpetually. They destroy the games industry.
And unfortunately, Microsoft got more money than what they can do with it. So I mean, they can buy these companies hand over fist without,
They can't afford patience, it seems, though. Because put their hands in it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Microsoft is doing is to get into the gaming space. Is they're just buying up stuff because their main core business is making a lot of money. So the gaming part is not making as much compared to what their core business is. This is it's like a side dish for them. So,
I mean, it is profitable, but yeah, you're right. It's not making as much as their core business.
You know what I mean? So they can go out here and do this, do that, and whatever. And as long as it passes regulators, then yeah, they can do this. This is why I guess a lot of people are worried about if Microsoft does end up buying up the bulk of these developers, these companies, this and that. What is it going to look like?
King's Dead 42 in chat says Microsoft is buying game studios to kill gaming. That way people will go back to work and prop up their office business.
That's the master plan.
Wow, what a long con.
So
that's good. Okay, I mean, anything else on this before we move on to all the Sony news? No? All right. Well, let's do it. Sony's State of Play. This was Japanese-centric, they stated. So all of the announced games and stuff that they showed off are from Japanese studios, they said. First impressions. Without going deep into specific games, were you guys excited to hear about a Sony State of Play? Was there anything you were hoping for? And then did it deliver or disappoint you?
I mean, I always enjoy especially short presentations like that. This
Yeah,
one
it
was
was only
like 20 minutes.
this one.
Yeah, I love those. Where it's like, hey, we're gonna like show you some trailers for 20 minutes. Like, oh, that's an amount of time I can dedicate to something. All right, sign me up. It's fun because I get distracted, so it's nice to have a concentrated amount of like, here's a bunch of trailers. You might care about a couple, and it's like, cool, thanks. Like, it's something I can have on and be excited about while I can continue doing something else.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm hooked on something, I can stop, look at it for however long the trailer is, and then go back. So yeah, I really enjoy those things.
Okay, so from what they announced, then, like, did anything like pique your interest, or was it kind of like, eh?
Yeah, Forspoken looks cool.
Right, yeah, they've been showing that off for a little bit. It just got delayed, actually.
Yeah, big surprise.
Good.
I mean, that looks really neat. I don't really know much about it other than like, look at you roll around and shoot stuff with magic. And like, if there's two things I want to do, it's use magic and roll around. So that sounds great to me.
2 goals in life.
Yeah.
I've been working towards.
So that looked cool. I don't really have a lot to say. It just looks neat.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, they haven't shown that much. They've
Yeah.
shown a little bit. So I agree. I also think it looks neat.
The Exoprimal looks dumb as heck, and I am on board.
As soon as I saw those dinosaurs pouring out of that portal, I'm like, Jesse's gonna love this.
Yeah, because I don't know if you played if any of you have played the Earth Defense Force games.
Yes,
Yeah.
EDF.
Yeah,
I love
EDF.
it. I love EDF. I'm a big
Exactly.
EDF fan.
Yes, EDF is amazing. It's Dumb Bee Movie the game, Dumb Bee Monster Movie the game, and you just fight giant insect aliens, and like it looks like that but with dinosaurs. And I am totally on board with that. I absolutely want that. Also, they have a character that looks like Regina from Dino Crisis, and that was 100% on purpose.
Yeah, they must have. Yeah, that was a troll.
Yeah, that's really good.
And then
What if it's in universe?
What?
For me, simply the remaster of the JoJo's fighting game. I'm alive.
Oh,
for
that looks interesting. Yes. Yeah, that looks.
Yeah, that looks really good. And I know I've complained about anime fighters, but JoJo was one of the good ones.
It's like, oh, JoJo's, I'm sold. Cool. That's the out of that list, I'm most excited about that.
That will be added to the collection for sure, because that only comes out every so often. Games like that don't. Yeah.
Rare.
I took notice of the the co-op DLC for Returnal. Like, it's just a free add-on. Like, apparently you can play through the whole campaign in co-op now, and then they're also adding like this endless mode to it, like this kind of challenge tower thing, which I think is just an infinitely replayable thing, which is really cool because that game garnered a lot of interest. Like, I was very hyped to try it out. I bought it and just have not played it yet. But knowing that, free stuff is coming to it is a good reason for me to go back, especially if anyone wants to play with me, because
multiplayer looks really interesting. I've played quite a bit. Well, when I got my PS5, obviously, when you get one, you're kind of just looking for things to play.
Yeah, just whatever's out there.
How long has it been out now? Like a couple years?
Mine is
I don't
gathering.
think it's been that long.
Mine is gathering dust. The only thing I got for it is
like it was only released last year, wasn't it?
There's not a lot of stuff on it.
No, there isn't.
And I'm finding it hard. Like, I bought it and I was like, right, this is gonna be great. It's gonna be investment. I'm gonna like play all the games. It's gonna be great. We will make videos on them. And I played like Demon's Souls, Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Returnal, Ratchet and Clank, which slaps. Ratchet and Clank's really good. And now I'm just like, I guess this sits in my living room and collects dust now. And I'm waiting for games to come out. And I think Returnal will be good in multiplayer. I think it's a game that would work well. But I think Returnal for me is the type of game like Tomb Raider. It is a game. And it's using really, really pretty particle effects to kind of mask the fact that there's not a lot of substance in that game. You are kind of just shooting a gun at the same enemies, and it looks pretty. And then you go to another area and you shoot them with another gun, and it looks pretty. And it's like, this is a game. I'm playing this.
Fair point. Like, I mean, in its favor though, like, it's at least a lot more engaging than like the cutscene heavy single player action things, right?
Oh yeah.
Like that's usually my beef with those kind of games. Like they want to tell you a story, and so half the time you're not actually even playing anything.
Yeah, I'm engaged when I'm playing it, and I'm in it. But because it's a roguelite, when you play it and you get deeper into like the dungeons, you start to realize that you're doing the same thing over and over, and there's not a huge amount of weapon variety, and there's not a huge amount of enemy variety, and it's just kind of like, this looks nice, but I am kind of just doing the same thing over and over, and I'm gonna go play Ratchet and Clank again.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I would agree.
Just my opinion.
I would agree. Like my PS5, I bought it for one reason and one reason only, and that was Genshin Impact. Only because I didn't want it on PS4.
Okay.
And then I have Earth Defense Force, Iron Maiden. That was the next thing. I love Earth EDF.
Yeah.
Really, when it comes
is that on PS5?
Yes, it's actually a digital download. I was hoping that it was disc, but it's only digital download. So
that's too rich for EDF's blood. They can't commit to physical media.
So
I mean that's in character.
Yeah.
But you know, when I saw that dinosaur game, first thing that came to mind was Pacific Rim and then EDF right behind. I was like, yeah, this looks interesting.
Instantly.
But the next game that I'm looking forward to, other than that, I think my first choice when I saw it was a Gundam. I was like,
I was gonna ask if anyone was
Gundam.
Like a Gundam fan.
I was like, oh, we doing this now? It's turning
Gundam
into
Evolution.
It's turning into Overwatch. We can do this.
Yeah, it's literally
It's literally
the freaking overlays on a screen. It's just Overwatch.
It is literally Overwatch.
But you play as Gundams. Weirdly, I think that it fits so well.
Right.
Like because the Gundams are like their designs are one, cool as shit, but two, like they have tons of personality based on like what their weaponry is and like their kit and arsenal. So to turn that into like Overwatch like hero shooter mechanics just makes perfect sense.
Yes, and there's a lot of Gundams they can choose from, and obviously each Gundam does something. But they could have done that like long time ago, but now, and well, obviously it was not going to be released here originally. So you know, I was like, this would be nice if it came over here. So
I bet we missed so many cool Gundam games.
Yes, it's not released. Yep.
Yeah, the Gundam Versus series generally doesn't come out here. There was like one on PlayStation Vita, and like that was it. I think PS4 and PS5 or PS4 really gets a couple.
Yeah, there's a few just like, you know, you kill a bunch of enemy stuff, but not like this. Like this
is new for this franchise. I think. Yeah, like hero shooter.
But this is definitely something that once people start playing, I think a lot of people will play it because it's Gundam. It's, you know, so
irresistible. Do we know if it's coming to PC at all? Because we got an announcement for PS5, but
Gundam was coming to Earth. Japan release game 66 beta for with giant mechs. Yeah, nothing here.
Big sad.
Says
that it is coming to PC, as far as I can tell.
But it might. I mean, just because it say now, don't. it might.
I mean, PlayStation does need more competitive shooters, so I'd imagine they would want to try and build an audience there. Like if they paid the money to get it in the West, like that might be part of their plan.
Yeah.
And the other game that looked pretty interesting, what was it? Giga something?
Giga Bash.
Giga Bash, yeah.
Giga Bash. What Giga Bash reminds me of is Power Stone. I really wish they would bring back Power Stone, because Power Stone was a classic on the Dreamcast, and a lot of people don't know how good that game was if you actually played it. It was pretty fun, in my opinion. But I think
a precursor to Smash.
Yeah. So like, soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, Power Stone. So, you know, I mean, but they are bringing a lot of Dreamcast games to various systems. So, some of the old games, I believe,
like Shenmue.
Power Stone is the one with the really weird movement, right? You're like on
it's in 3D.
It's in 3D arena, but it's like isometric looking down.
Yeah.
But then, you guys run around a stage and
I've heard that game is really good.
Yeah, and
like I have friends who won't ever shut up about Power Stone.
Yeah, because I actually have the discs still somewhere. I still have my.
That's rare. That's a collector's thing, I think.
And
right?
I still have my Dreamcast. So,
Even more rare.
well, you already know me. I like to collect mine. So, but I might have to go digging for it if I can still find it. But yeah, just going around beating up each other and then picking up the Power Stones, then you get an ultimate move. Like I said, it's simple, but it's also fun to play. You know, so I'm still waiting on.
Giga Bash definitely has those vibes. Also, less revered Godzilla Destroy.
Oh man, I like that game.
What was the name of
Destroy
that
All
game?
Monsters.
Oh,
Melee.
Destroy All Monsters.
Yeah, like folks really like that game, but like did it get like reviewed poorly, or am I thinking of a different game?
There were 3. There was that one. There was Save the Earth, and I think that was on PS2 and Xbox. And there was one for the Wii, and they get mixed reviews. I think the first one reviewed well. I don't remember though. But
Yeah, you might be right.
game.
Like the first one was Destroy All Monsters.
Yeah, but it was also a GameCube exclusive, so you do have a limit
I
of
remember playing
where you
Destroy All
can sell.
Monsters on my PS2.
I think
Really?
they had Saved the Earth on PS2. Now I gotta look it up.
Maybe there are so many like kaiju monster fighting games that I played on the
Yeah.
PlayStation 2 that I can't remember. There was one that was the main character and it would look like Optimus Prime, but like like a Gundam kind of nondescript version, and I cannot remember the name of it.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking
Was
about.
it War of the
also can't-
Monsters?
Possibly, that rings a bell. Do you guys have this where you have a memory of a game from like your childhood and you cannot remember it, like the name of it?
I'm telling you,
Yes.
all day.
Jesse's brain just got wired together.
I have
Triggered.
one game that some people on the Escapist Discord tried for like 2 days straight to figure out what it was, and we never figured it out.
What is it?
It is an isometric racing game that's up to 4 players local. I mean, it was. I'm almost certain it was PS1. It could have been Super Nintendo, but I'm fairly certain it was PS1. You get power-ups, and the levels, like the tracks, have no guardrails. So if you fall off the track,
Jesse,
you get plopped back
I
on.
fucking played this game, dude, and I
What's
have the
it
exact same
called?
thing. I don't know. This is one of the games, and it takes place in like you're like a little car. It's kind of like Micro Machines, where you're like a little car, right?
I think so. I don't remember if that's part of it.
Because I remember
that
like
sounds
driving
it
around
could
the
be.
basement and through vents, and I think it was on the N64 or on the PS1. And that's apart from this monster game with the Optimus Prime looking dude, that is the one game that I can't figure out what it's
remember.
called. I can never find it.
King's Dead 42 suggests giving Reddit's tip of my joystick a try. That they're pretty good at identifying games like this.
Oh, I should, yeah.
So yeah, then give us an update on that. See if you can figure
Yeah,
out what that game
because
is.
I'll find an emulator for that because I want to play that.
I don't know if I
but
can
yeah,
send links in Twitch, so I'll send this over Discord. This is the cover for War of the Monsters. If that...
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, that's the game.
I remember that.
Okay.
That's the one. I love that game.
Yeah, I've never seen that.
I haven't played it, but I want to.
I play that all the time.
Tell you one game they really need to bring back to is Rival Schools and Project Justice, also on the Dreamcast. That was very good back then.
I've never
Who
played
owns
that
Rivals?
one.
That's a Capcom.
It's
Series,
a
right?
Capcom,
Rivals?
yeah, I believe so.
Okay, so yeah, I think those characters just show up in random Capcom versus things. But yeah, I doubt it's gonna get a standalone fighting game again. Like Capcom is all in on Street Fighter and nothing else. Like the era of just 30 2D fighters is over.
But I tell you what, the price for Rival Schools and Project Justice, whoo-wee.
Is it
It is-
high?
Yeah, I can imagine.
Collector, man, I had the game at one point, and I could almost kick myself for not. And I had both versions too. And right now, the prices of those games are extremely high, just because of the value of them. Very rare games.
Lesson learned, guys. Don't sell your games.
Yeah, hoard.
Yeah, that is good advice. If you have physical copies of games, keep them in good condition and don't sell them. Because I had the first Fire Emblem that came to the West, Fire Emblem: The Sacred Stones. And apparently, yeah, that goes for a lot of money now. Have no idea where that cart is.
I think that's like 4 figures for that game.
Damn.
Yeah, it's worth a lot of money,
Like-
probably in box. Like I played the game, so it probably wouldn't be worth as much. But even still, like I know I own that game. Like I can picture like the stupid little Game Boy Advance cart in my head. No idea where it is. Decades ago.
But I know we always have the conversation about digital versus physical all the time and what's going to happen, this and that. And man, it is the way how the prices are going these days, man. 10 years from now, you might have a gem somewhere you don't even know about.
Yeah, you have no idea. Just so hold everything. Hoard all your belongings.
Not gonna lie, I'm doing that right now. It's physical.
I wanna-
Yes, I'm buying it right now.
Yep, keep it. But here's a couple of lesser known titles that they talked about that, to me at least, well, one of the two looked really interesting. This Square Enix strategy RPG, the Dealfield Chronicle. Like it's like the character models look a little wonky, but it reminds me of what's the name of that game? Triangle Strategy, which was also in this. It reminds me of that, but like it puts a lot more production value into its like battle scenes or whatnot.
Yeah.
But it is a tactics game.
Oh, like it's similar to Front Mission is when I first saw it. Like if you ever played Front Mission, I still have those
I
games
haven't
too.
actually.
Front Mission and like the cutscenes and all that is what I look at it, well, compare it to, in my opinion, because like I said, I still have Front Mission on the older system. So when I see like the cutscenes and the tactic strategy, I'm like, oh, okay, that's what this looks like. Okay, so what it reminds me of anyway.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know if anyone is looking at the trailer or remembers the trailer, but it looks like really really anime, but like it's very Final Fantasy looking as well. But it's just it also has the same vibe as Octopath Traveler and what's the name, where it's like, okay, you're in like a space and like they're kind of mixing art styles. Like there's like 2D character portraits, there's like real world 3D space, they're like kind of photorealistic backgrounds and stuff.
Octopath
So, like,
is
it's just
so pretty. It's
Yeah.
so gorgeous.
like it's just a really arresting visual style that this game has. And even though the gameplay is probably just standard tactics, I'm all in for that. Like I love tactics if it's like just a strong tactics system. So just dressing it up with all this like flash and flare, like that actually works for me in that instance. So like I'm kind of really interested in what that game turns out to be.
It did.
And the last thing here is Valkyrie Elysium. Like I don't know what this game is.
It's like a side scroll game because I have the old Valkyrie's profile actually for the older system.
Oh, it's part of that series. Oh,
Yes. So it's similar. I don't know if they continue it, but the moment I seen Valkyrie and I was like, oh, are they continuing it or is it, but yeah, it's the style is similar to the old one. The Valkyrie's profile, something. I got it in here in the stash somewhere.
So, but this one isn't 2D.
So
Like this, it's like full 3D movement in this. Like it looks like an action hack and slash game.
yeah, it looks. I was like, oh, okay.
But personally, this one looks a little undercooked, if I'm being honest.
So
When was the release
just
date?
the animations and the say again?
When was the release date? 22, 23?
In 2022.
Oh.
This is coming to PlayStation 4 and 5. So
Oh, we're going to get the wonk. It's going to be wonky.
yeah, this looks a little.
it is what it is.
So I don't know, but honestly, as someone who really wasn't expecting much out of this conference, I was surprised at how much they showed off that like I was like genuinely interested in. Like the Gundam stuff is really cool. The free stuff coming to Returnal is exciting. Also, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles beat 'em up collection,
Yeah.
Power collection.
Yeah.
Like I'm probably not going to play that, but I did love those Turtles games growing up. I just know I won't like. I used to play them with my brothers. Like I don't live with my brothers anymore, so like I'm just probably not gonna spend time playing through these games again. But like for anyone who has people to like check this stuff out with, like, I'm very excited for them because like those games are fantastic beat 'em ups, and it's super cool to have them all in a big collection like that. So like that's really dope.
Is it something your son might be interested in?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, he'll be interested in that for sure. But he's not allowed to play video games right
now.
Oh, that Final Fantasy one looks strange. I know I have that.
Strangers of Paradise, right?
Yeah, that's weird.
Like.
That's like weird to me. I mean, I'm a Final Fantasy junkie. I love Final Fantasy games, and I'll collect them just to collect them. But that one seemed pretty weird. I mean, before the trailer came out, I already had it pre-ordered the moment I saw what it was. So I was like, oh, okay, looks interesting. Even if I don't play it, I'm still gonna collect it just because it's a different type of Final Fantasy from the way it looks. So,
no, I can see that. Like, I know that there's some excitement about this. Like, it didn't look bad from the trailer, but like it's another Souls-like in a post Elden Ring world, and like I just fear for how that's gonna come off.
Yeah, Final Fantasy's kind of gotten away from certain things that made it Final Fantasy.
Like
my opinion
stuff, is that what
like I'm so used.
I'm fine with that. I've never liked it, but I'm not the audience, so I'm sure.
So, but like I said, I love Final Fantasy, any type of Final Fantasy, so I'll collect it just to collect it for what it is. Same thing actually with Valkyrie too, because I'll probably get it just to add it to collection because I have the older versions already, as long as I can get a physical copy.
Yeah.
So.
All right, cool. The only other thing here that I feel like we haven't mentioned at all is the Ghostwire Tokyo trailer, but like that's pretty much releasing next week. And I will say, like, for a game that I had zero interest in, the last trailer and this trailer in particular really did make me want to check it out. Like, it's a first person shooter essentially, but like the character is weaving signs and magic with their hands, and like it just looks really cool, like surprisingly cool, and it's piquing my interest now. And weirdly enough, that's the second game out of Sony's first party lineup that Microsoft owns, because the first one was Deathloop, and then that one from Tango Gameworks is also a Microsoft owned studio. So I'm interested to see if that does as well as Deathloop, because then Deathloop got like 10s and 9s everywhere. I'm wondering if Ghostwire Tokyo will be a similar situation, because again, both these games are titles that were in development before Microsoft took over, but are now kind of feathers in Microsoft's cap for the studio's next project.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but that's pretty much it. Any other lingering thoughts on PlayStation's state of play?
I'm just now looking at the Ghostwire trailer. I don't know why I missed it, and yeah, that looks pretty sweet.
Oh, we missed something else actually.
Oh, what did we miss?
Trek to Yomi, the black and white side-scrolling samurai game.
Oh yeah, I had saw that. I was like, oh, that looks pretty. Didn't a side-scrolling fighter game just came out not too long ago too? It was like, but not samurai, but what is it called?
Are you thinking of Sifu?
Sifu, yeah.
Yeah, it's not side-scrolling though. That's third person.
That's third person. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, this is also fully 3D. It's just on like a side-on perspective.
Okay.
This looks like Ghost of Tsushima. Like, I thought it was like a new DLC, like a special kind of side thing for Ghost of Tsushima, and it's not. And that's all I can say about it. Like, it just looks like black and white side-scrolling Ghost of Tsushima. Like, the animations even look the same.
That's not a terrible thing, though, right?
I mean, for me, Ghost of Tsushima was very average for me personally. Like, the best things about Ghost of Tsushima was actually like its atmosphere and story.
Yeah.
So who knows what's in this game? Like, the combat is kind of just the combat, in my opinion. So this looks very underwhelming to me, but I don't know. Like, none of you guys even remembered it from the conference, so.
I mean, now that you mentioned it, but yeah, I looked at it and was like, oh, that's a game.
Yeah.
Move on.
Right, yeah, like, it didn't leave like a super big impression.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it then. That's pretty much everything they showed off.
Oh,
so
wait,
not
I've
too
got one
much.
thing.
Yeah.
I've got one thing. It's nothing to do with the Sony thing. It's just because I've never had a platform to say it. Triangle Strategy is a dumb fucking name.
It's an awful. It is the worst name. I can't believe with it.
That is terrible.
Project Triangle.
If it's a translation issue,
straight
just
up-
make something else up because it is a terrible name. Sorry,
straight
I've
up
just never
laziness.
had a chance to say that on somewhere. Like, I've never had a platform to say it. I've got it out of my system. Yeah, carry on.
No, it's straight up laziness.
Project Circle.
Because it was called Project Triangle Strategy when they were testing it, and then they just decided, oh well, people have been calling it this. Let's just leave it like that.
It's a stupid name.
So dumb.
I mean, Octopath Traveler was the same way, where it was like, that's kind of a dumb name.
I kind of get it though. I kind
Yeah,
of
that
get
would-
Because there are
kinda
8
work.
paths.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what
Triangle
the first.
Strategy sounds like a prototype name that they're trying not to reveal what franchise it's in. You know,
Yeah.
oh yeah, we're developing Triangle Strategy, but they just haven't changed it to anything.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think it is too.
They could have just called it Strategy Tactics and be done with it, and
Yep.
be like, okay, sure,
Yep.
whatever.
3-point strategy tactic.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nick the OG says they called it that during development, then it leaked, so it got popular under that name.
Oh, whoever called it that name, or whoever they're paying to name these games, yeah, they should get a pay cut on that one.
Yeah, that sounds plausible. Like it was just
What's it?
like the fake name got out there, and then people were anticipating it and liking it and referring to it as that name. Like rather than lose the recognition, they decided to just go with that name, which is dumb, but probably makes business sense in some way.
But once you brand it one thing, you might as well leave it at that all the way through to.
Because otherwise, people would be like, "Oh, what happened to that Project Triangle game?" Like, "Oh, that release. That's
From a
called."
marketing standpoint, I get it on both sides. Yeah, let's keep it like this because it's now got brand recognition. But also, I'm not buying that game because it's called Triangle Strategy. If I went into a store, which I never do anymore, but if I went into a game store and I saw, I saw The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild and I saw Triangle Strategy, I'd go, I'm getting Breath of the Wild because that game looks lazy as fuck. Why is it called Triangle Strategy? I'm not getting that.
Breath of the Wild, you think is a a well thought out name though?
It's better than Triangle Strategy. Might as well just call it Game. Fuck off.
I mean, neither of these titles mean anything. Is what
I care about this too much. Let's move on. I'm actually getting rolled up about this.
Okay, I haven't played Breath of the Wild, but I will argue that is a good subtitle.
You think
for
that's
a
a
name.
good subtitle?
I think it is because.
So what does
it-
Breath of the Wild mean for you?
I'll tell you exactly what it means. It means open world, which it is. And it means stamina system because you're going to run out of breath, which you do.
Oh my god.
There it is.
It is perfect synergy. It's
They should
everything.
have called it Wildly Out of Breath then.
Wildly. I picked that up.
This man.
I pick up Zelda wildly out of breath.
Oh my god.
All right. So if that wraps things up for the Sony discussion, that also wraps things up for today's podcast. I'd like to thank all of my hosts for joining me today. J-Mate, why don't you start things off? What do you have coming up that folks can check out from you?
Yeah, you guys can check out Design Delve with me and Marty Sleever on The Escapist, where we talk with developers while playing their games, discussing their designs. Really fun series. And I have an episode of The Anatomy of Elden Ring Part 1 coming out on Tuesday. You can check that out on The Escapist as well. And also a new episode of my podcast on my personal channel, where we discuss the designs of Elden Ring. And I thought it was going to last an hour or so. Ended up lasting 5.
Yeah,
So
Elden Ring
that's
will do
probably
that
going to be a 2-parter.
Yeah.
Wow.
So keep
Accurate
an eye out for that.
representation.
It's probably going to take like a week to render. So we'll see. But yeah, keep an eye out for those.
Thank you. Jesse, what about you? What do you have coming up?
I've got some stuff coming up. I always got streams happening over on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/RexconJesse. And that'll be happening tomorrow, 11 to 2 Eastern, and Tuesday, same time. Be playing games. I might be done with Gothic. I'm not sure yet. And RPG Help Desk on Wednesday, which is noon to 2. And then working on, I'll probably stream some editing this week, finishing up the edit for Behind Schedule on Blood Rain. And then I'll be at Richmond GalaxyCon talking about tabletop RPGs this weekend. I don't know who's going to be there.
Will that be like recorded or like streamed anywhere? Or
Probably not, unless someone pulls out their cell phone. It's not going to be recorded. I don't
like the con doesn't have like a page that will no.
I don't think they record their panels there. No.
All right,
so,
that's sad because I kind of want to see that.
It's a one time. You better show up and get ready.
All right, I'm gonna get on the plane.
Yep.
I should be there in time.
Yeah, like 5 days. You're good.
Yeah.
Nick the OG is asking Jesse, did you look up that Mashed game I mentioned? Maybe that's the 4-player PS1 game you mentioned.
I 100% missed that you mentioned a MASH game. Let me look that up.
Mashed potatoes.
But does that wrap things up for what you got coming up, Jesse?
Gosh, I think so. There's probably other things happening that I'm forgetting about. Twitch, Twitter, Discord, all of that. I have a Patreon. You keep track of me through all those.
Yeah, do that. The Fat Stacks, what about you? What do you have coming up that folks can check out?
Me, I'm still on that blessed journey for me. And other than that, you guys can find me under the same name, The Fat Stacks, on all my socials, everything and anything anime. Still with the anime store, you guys probably seen a lot of coming soon stuff. I try to get a lot of the old stuff versus a lot of the newer stuff. So if you're into anime, looking for anime items, check out the socials, check out the store. Same thing when it comes to Twitch, YouTube, all that stuff. I do my best to stream a little bit here and there, as well as a little financial corner. I talk about finances, stocks and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a good show.
So, and I do it in basic terms. I don't, get into all that nitty gritty. So I try to do things or explain things where people can understand that can help them, on the ground level. So a lot of the times, to me personally, I think financial literacy is very important. And, even in schools nowadays, they're starting to see that. I don't know if you guys have seen it. I think in Florida, they've already passed something in their school system saying that students need to graduate, have to have a financial class before they graduate or something like that.
Cool.
So
appreciate it.
So
I would have loved that.
You know what I mean? So it's a good thing now that they're starting to realize, finances are very important, especially at a young age. So, that's what I'm doing, here and there. So if you guys have any questions, you could always send me a message and whatnot. And if I don't know the answer, I will point you in that direction. And that is a fact. So.
Hell yeah.
Sweet. Thank you. As always, you guys can find me at Sigma Gears 9 on Twitch and Twitter. Later today, I'll be over on the Open Party Twitch, where we do Super Smash Sunday in about 2 hours, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be going live there. Jeff will be joining me as usual for some chaotic Smash action. Outside of that, I should have a new review dropping on The Escapist before the end of the week. It's on a highly anticipated game that I think you guys are going to like when that review drops, because I know I liked it. Won't tell you what the game is, though. Outside of that, I'm still being real sketchy in terms of like my personal streaming schedule. Like I want to stream more, but like there's other stuff I got to take care of, like just around the house and in life, etc. But if you follow the Twitter, I will just announce whenever it is I go live. I know it's like kind of scattershot, but bear with me. The couple of times where I've just shown up randomly and like streamed for like 3.5 hours, you guys have actually come through and watched, and I really appreciate that. Like, thank you so much for that. It's been fun. I streamed like Elden Ring for like 3.5 hours, starting at 12 midnight, like a couple of days ago, and like that was weirdly a ton of fun, being up that late. But other than that, yeah, just follow the socials, and I'll see you guys in the future. Thanks everyone in chat. Thanks to my 3 guests this week. That's going to do it for episode 59. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Innovate team. Bye.
Bye.